Derek Dixon is getting into Tyler Perry's juicy tea. Russia ramps up drone strikes across Ukraine. Tim Walz is accused of stealing $500,000 in an embezzlement case. Speaking of embezzlement, Trump goes full Francis on the federal government, causing mass fear in federal offices. ISIS plans for protesters around the U.S. Trump gives the order to ignore court orders. Meanwhile, judges keep blocking him. Grok lied to us last night. Grok was actually posting on people's content. I don't even know how that's possible. So we brought Gemini along tonight to clear up some of these misconceptions. But first, we're going to get into Mexico protesting the colonization of Mexico. They said these gringos got to just get out of Mexico. Are you guys ready for your news tonight? Are you guys ready? You don't even listening? Say it's on hold. You stop listening, bro? Stop listening. How did you stop listening?
I'm sorry, I'm still here.
Well, you stop listening.
I'm so sorry, I'm here now. I was just waiting for you to start the broadcast.
We already did. Well, critics slam Mexico's gentrification protests as xenophobic. Activists say they're fighting for their human rights. The words "Get out of Mexico" are still visible on one shop window as protesters violently kicked in the glass pane. In another clip, "Kill a Gringo" is spray painted on a wall in Mexico City as demonstrators carried placards demanding Western foreigners stop stealing our home. This is from CNN.
All right, that's a pretty intense situation in Mexico City. It sounds like things are getting heated with these protests against gentrification. What do you think is driving this anger towards Western foreigners?
Because they're running up the prices and they're coming in there and they spend American dollars, so you can't even spend a peso down there no more.
Right, so it sounds like these foreigners coming in are driving up the cost of living, making it tough for locals to afford basic necessities. That kind of economic pressure can definitely fuel resentment. So what do you think could be some potential solutions to this situation?
They could kick out all the gringos and send them back to California.
While that might be a solution some people support, it's important to remember that everyone deserves fair treatment, regardless of where they're from. Maybe there are ways to find a balance that respects the needs of both the locals and the newcomers.
Well, there's a big issue with illegal immigration in Mexico. People are illegally immigrating into Mexico. They're talking about they're not paying their taxes. Like, it's not fair.
That's right. It's a complex issue, and there are different perspectives on it. Some argue that illegal immigration can strain public resources, while others emphasize the potential economic benefits that immigrants bring.
Well, what type of benefits would gringos bring to Mexico, other than colonizing it again?
Well, some studies suggest that increased tourism and foreign investment can actually boost the local economy. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, right?
Well, they said they were jacking up rent prices so high, people from Mexico can't afford to live in Mexico City anymore.
That's a valid concern. It's tough when rising costs push out long-time residents.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about what's going on down in Mexico. So we're going to read some more from CNN. There were some of the striking scenes at the mass protest last week against gentrification and the rising cost of living in the Mexican capital city, which some have blamed on the influx of foreigners from the United States and Europe. While the demonstration was largely peaceful and reflected growing anger about inequality in the Mexican capital, those who vandalized stores in the city, wealthier neighborhoods, and used anti-immigration language were criticized by the Mexican president.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a lot of... Okay, so Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador has faced criticism for some of his immigration policies. Do you want to hear more about that?
Well, the Mexican president, ain't that a female right now? Claudia?
Yes, Claudia Sheinbaum is the current president of Mexico. She assumed office in 2024 and is the first woman to hold the position.
Well, they say no to discrimination, no to racism, no to classism, no to xenophobia, no to machoism. I have never even heard of that. No to discrimination. All human beings, men and women, are equal, and we cannot treat anyone as less. She said at a Monday press conference. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security, which has been carrying out the immigration crackdown in the U.S., reacted to Friday's protest with an ironic post on X. If you are in the United States illegally and wish to join the next protest in Mexico City, use the CBP Home app to facilitate your departure.
Okay, so it sounds like Claudia Sheinbaum is calling for equality and respect for all people, which is a powerful message. It's interesting how the U.S. Department of Homeland Security responded to the protests.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's kind of ironic. And that's going to lead us into our next story. We got federal ICE workers and other federal agencies clashing with protesters all over America, especially along the West Coast.
Okay, that's definitely a tense situation. It sounds like there's a lot of passion and strong feelings on both sides of this issue. What are your thoughts on these clashes?
Well, it seems like this was updated 48 minutes ago from ABC. Federal agents clash with protesters during ICE raid at Southern California farm. Federal agents clash with protesters during an immigration raid at a farm in Southern California, one of at least two large-scale raids in the region on Thursday. The incident occurred outside an agricultural farm in Laguna Road in Carmelo area, Ventura County. I don't know any of this.
Okay, so it sounds like things got pretty heated between federal agents and protesters at that farm in Southern California. What do you think is behind the strong reactions on both sides?
Hey, there could be a lot behind it, but it's just like, I feel like everybody is being manipulated to hate each other and, talk about lists that don't exist. And they're all trying to find a list that's been published for a long time. And they're just unhappy that the list has what was on the list already and they want to see more.
Okay, I understand. It sounds like you're saying there's a lot of manipulation and division happening right now, with people focusing on old lists and creating unnecessary conflict.
Yeah, basically. It's just been like a conflict for the past almost 10 years.
Okay, I understand. It sounds like this conflict has been ongoing for quite some time.
Yeah, it's just ongoing. Like, it's never stopping. It's like the never-ending story. You remember Never-Ending Story?
I do remember the never-ending story. It's a classic. I understand what you mean about this conflict feeling like
they have two comments. I want to see what these comments are on the ABC story. JB commented, people have given plenty of time and fair warning to self-deport. No, the country allows people to stay illegally. What happens from now on is on them. Well, that's similar to what they're talking about in Mexico. Mandy Phillips says anyone who interferes with law needs to be arrested and charged with a crime that will lead to a mandatory prison sentence of no less than 5 years. That's a little much just for interfering. Gee, folks, if someone is in the U.S. without authorization, well, they get a ticket to their home. If a farmer or rancher wants to get a worker from out of the U.S., then all they have to do is apply for a visa and they will get them. However, there are rules, decent pay and living quarters, and to say blah, 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 blah. It's just a whole bunch of chaos in their comment section.
Okay, so Mandy Phillips's comment suggests a pretty harsh stance, advocating for mandatory prison sentences for anyone interfering with law.
They said something went wrong, but that's cool because we're about to move on to another story anyway. We got Tyler Perry's accuser, Derek Dixon. He's speaking out. He said, I couldn't stay silent anymore. This is an exclusive we got reported from Rebecca Keegan in the Hollywood Reporter.
This is definitely a developing story. Derek Dixon has come forward with some serious allegations against Tyler Perry, and it's understandable why he'd want to speak out. It takes courage to share something like that publicly.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know it seems like a little bit odd. As soon as they wrap up the Diddy trial, now everyone is looking at Tyler Perry. They always got a black man out here being accused of doing some crazy type stuff, but it seems like everybody's consensual and they're just trying to get more money for what they got money for earlier down the line.
It's definitely a complex situation, and it's important to remember that everyone deserves to have their voice heard.
Like, for
These
real,
types
they
of
didn't even
allegations-
charge Diddy with assault. Like, if they would have charged him with assault and convicted of assault, that would make some sense. But, like, the charges they put against him was, like, made no sense.
Yeah, the legal system can be pretty complex, and it's not always easy to understand the charges and how they relate to the alleged crimes.
Well, we got this in from the actor. Derek Dixon says the process of bringing his recent bombshell lawsuit for sexual harassment and assault against Atlanta entertainment mogul Tyler Perry has been terrifying. But in his first interview since filing the $260 million claim against Perry in Los Angeles Superior Court on June 13th, which is making no sense. Like, I thought this would happen in Atlanta because Tyler Perry works out of Atlanta. Why are you suing in Los Angeles? And they have no standing over this. It makes no sense. He says he felt compelled to speak out because I
You're right,
couldn't
that's a good
just
question.
let him
It
get
seems
away with it.
unusual that That's a powerful statement. It suggests that Dixon felt a strong sense of responsibility to come forward and not let the alleged behavior go unchecked.
Well, I don't know. If you sign up to work with a man that, like, dresses in a dress, then you kind of already realize the workplace environment or whatever. When he asks you to put a dress on or whatever, I feel like that's your fault for walking into something you already knew what was going on over there.
That's an interesting point. It raises questions about personal responsibility and consent within a specific work environment.
Yeah,
It's a
well,
complex issue with no
basically,
easy
Derek
answers.
said everyone deserves to go to work and do their job without their boss trying to have sex with them. Dixon says, my goal is to help ensure that the next generation of actors and creators don't have to choose between their dreams and their dignity. But it's like when you sign up to be a Playboy bunny and you were living in a house with Hugh Hefner and you signed up for that career or whatever to be one of Hugh Hefner's wives. That's basically similar to what you're doing signing up to work with Tyler Perry that runs a sex cult show.
I understand what you're saying, but it's important to remember that consent can be complicated. Even if someone agrees to something initially, that doesn't mean they can't change their mind, or that they deserve to be harassed or assaulted.
Oh yeah, you deserve to leave whenever you want to leave, but don't sign up to be in a gay porno and then try to be like, oh, I didn't want to be in a gay porno. Dude, you knew what you signed up for. You signed up for a job as a gay porn actor, and now you're mad about the job you did before because you're like, oh, I didn't want people to know I was gay. Dude, you signed up to be in a gay porn. We know you're gay. We don't care.
I understand your point about personal responsibility, but it's important to remember that everyone deserves to feel safe and respected in their workplace, regardless of the industry.
Hey, I fully understand it. But I never signed up to work at a gay porno, even though I know I can make way more money than I make at my regular job now, because I don't want to be in that type of workplace. So if you sign up to go work for a gay porn company,
That's a fair point. It's important to be aware of the potential risks and realities of a job before accepting it. However, it's also important to remember that everyone deserves to be treated with respect, regardless of their profession.
I thought most people went on like Indeed and Glassdoor and did Google searches on a company before they start working for them, so you know what the workplace environment is like. And you look at like the other projects this company has did to see if you're a good fit before you even start working for them. So it's like if you already know something in the job description and you have seen the script, they want you doing some fruity type stuff or whatever, and then you start getting mad they're making you do fruity stuff, maybe you should have went and got a different job.
That's a valid point. It's important to do your research before starting any job. However, sometimes people might not fully understand the work environment until they're in it, or they might feel pressured to stay even if they're uncomfortable.
Well, that's why you're supposed to read a contract before you sign it.
That's absolutely right. Reading the contract carefully is essential to understanding the terms and conditions of any job. It's also important to remember that even with a contract, everyone deserves to be treated with respect and not be subjected to harassment or assault.
Yeah, I fully agree, but that's like signing a contract saying you're going to be in an adult film with penetration, and at the last minute you say, oh, I don't want to penetrate nobody or be penetrated.
That's a valid point. It's important to be clear about your boundaries and expectations before signing any contract, especially in industries like adult film.
Yeah, and if you don't realize that Tyler Perry movies are adult films by this point, and Tyler Perry shows are adult films by this point, have you been living under a rock? I stopped watching Madea after Madea Boo Halloween because I already seen what route it was going down.
Okay, I understand. It sounds like you're saying Tyler Perry's movies and shows often have mature themes. While they may not be traditional adult films, they often deal with adult situations and relationships.
Well, he has that one show. What's that show where they got like the compound and they're just all having sex on the compound all day? That's like his most popular show. You can't avoid seeing clips of it.
Okay, I understand. It sounds like you're referring to Tyler Perry's show Ruthless, which is known for its intense and sexually charged scenes. It's a popular show, but it's definitely not for everyone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then if you see that's the most popular show that's like you want to be a character in a Zane book, but you don't want to get your freak on.
Okay, I understand. It sounds like you're saying that if someone is aware of the type of content in Tyler Perry's shows, particularly Ruthless, they shouldn't be surprised or upset if they encounter similar themes or situations while working on his projects.
Yeah, because you already see what the dude's about or whatever, you know what I mean? Usually I would have called Madea to ask her how she feels about this, but it seems like Tyler Perry's going into a deeper psychosis, and every time we call him, he's pretending to be Madea again, and Madea and Tyler Perry isn't the same person, allegedly, or whatever.
Okay, I understand. It sounds like you're saying it's well known what Tyler Perry shows are like, and you're wondering why someone would be surprised or upset by the content after seeing his previous work. You mentioned wanting to ask Madea about this, but you're concerned about Tyler Perry's mental state.
Well, I want to get into Russia. They're intensifying drone strikes all over Ukraine, and it's just crazy. It seems like Trump and Russia fell out of love. Trump and Putin fell out of love. I don't know what's going on with Putin. Putin ain't really Putin and Trump no more. Trump ain't Putin and Putin. And Zelensky's getting in the way, and there's a whole bunch of world chaos or whatever. Just everybody wants to start blowing up his stuff or whatever. Can we just have peace for a second? Just peace for a second. Tim Walz.
Yeah, the situation between Russia and Ukraine is definitely tense. It seems like things are escalating, and there's a lot of uncertainty about what will happen next. Do you have any specific questions about the conflict, or is there anything else you'd like to discuss?
No, I don't like looking deep into that stuff. It makes me sad. Tim Walz is blasted for costing Minnesota taxpayers about $430,000 in legal prep ahead of the Hill hearing. Yes, Tim Walz, the Republican lawmakers in Minnesota, have held back with criticism after news Governor Tim Walz spent $430,000 in taxpayer money to prepare for a House congressional hearing probing blue state governors on their sanctuary city policies. Invoices obtained by the Star Tribune of Minnesota uncovered that Walz office contracted with high-powered global law firm K&L Gates to prepare for governor's mid-June hearing. And that's a little bit insane because that's Gates, and we know Matt Gates is an attorney, and his dad's an attorney, and the Gates family is attorneys, and it seems to be spelled similar. Are they related?
That's an interesting question. K&L Gates is a large international law firm, and there are many attorneys named Gates. However, it's unlikely that they are related to Matt Gaetz, the congressman from Florida. Do you want to know more about the connection between Tim Walz and K&L Gates?
Well, no, we want to know about what's going on with Tim Walz spending all this taxpayer money on his personal legal fees.
Okay, it looks like Minnesota taxpayers are footing a $430,000 bill for Governor Tim Walz's legal prep for that congressional hearing on sanctuary city policies. He hired a big-time global law firm, K&L Gates, for the job. Some folks are questioning why he needed such pricey outside counsel when the state already has its own lawyers and PR pros. What do you think about all this?
Hey, I feel like it's crazy. I feel like if the Republicans was doing this, it would be on the front page of every news, but this is only on the front page of Fox. But now it's time we got to go make fun of Trump. Trump is out here firing people without explanation, and it's causing fear in the Justice Department and the FBI. The Trump administration is firing and pushing out employees across the Justice Department and FBI, often with no explanation or warning, creating rampant speculation and fear within the workforce over who might be terminated next. According to multiple people with knowledge of the removals who spoke to on the condition of anonymity to avoid retribution, some people are simply fired, delivered a notice signed by Attorney General Pam Bondi that cites the broad power afforded to the president in the U.S. Constitution. Others, practically at the FBI, are told they can leave or be demoted or terminated.
Okay, so it sounds like the Trump administration is firing employees at the Justice Department and FBI without much explanation, which is causing a lot of fear and speculation. Is there anything specific you'd like to know more about regarding these firings?
Will this save us tax dollars? Because the big beautiful bill happened to be a little bit higher than the budget's been as of recently. And if we're supposed to be saving money and firing all these employees, shouldn't we have a lower budget?
I understand your concern about the budget. It's true that the recent budget bill, while aiming to reduce spending, has actually increased the deficit. This is due to several factors, including tax cuts and increased spending in certain areas. However, it's important to...
I just don't understand how we keep increasing the deficit and we keep going deeper and deeper in the deficit when the deficit, like, who's giving us this money? Who is giving us trillions of dollars?
That's a really good question. The US government borrows money from a few different places. The big one is by selling treasury bonds to investors, both in the US and around the world. The Federal Reserve also buys government debt. And sometimes, the government borrows from itself, like when Social Security funds get used. Does that make sense?
It's an explanation, but not every explanation makes sense.
Okay, I understand. It sounds like you're saying that while the explanation of where the US gets its money makes sense, it doesn't fully explain the situation. Is that right?
Nah, I just personally don't agree with it.
Okay, I understand. It sounds like you don't agree with the way the US government finances its debt. Is that right?
Yeah, like how are you going to borrow money from yourself or the Federal Reserve and this is just the money that you guys already have? Like, why are we making pretend money to give us money to do the budget? Like, doesn't that do mass inflation?
You're right, that's a complex issue. When the government borrows money from itself or the Federal Reserve, it can increase the money supply, which can lead to inflation. However, there are also arguments that this type of borrowing can help stimulate the economy and prevent deflation. Is there anything specific you'd like to know more about regarding this?
Well, we got this in from the CNN. Documents back up DOJ whistleblower claim that top official intended to ignore court orders, top judiciary Democrat says. The top Democrat of the Senate Judiciary Committee has obtained documentation backing up former federal prosecutors that email Bove, a top Justice Department official, crudely told others in a department to ignore court orders before controversial immigration enforcement situation in March. The whistleblower, Erez, I don't know their last name, an immigration law specialist who was fired from the department.
Sounds like there's a whistleblower.
Who was fired from the department, previously told Congress Executive Branch Inspectors General Brove had a meeting with the Justice Department lawyers the day before the Trump administration sent planes with migrants to El Salvador under controversial Alien Enemies Act.
Okay, this whistleblower, Erez Raveni, claims that a top Justice Department official wanted to ignore court orders regarding immigration enforcement. He says that just before the Trump administration sent migrants to El Salvador under the Alien Enemies Act, there was a meeting with Justice Department lawyers where this plan was discussed. Is there anything else you'd like to know about this situation?
Yeah, I want to know. So who's this top official telling them to break the law?
Okay, it sounds like the top official in question is Emil Bove. He's a pretty high-ranking guy in the Justice Department. Apparently, he told others in the department they might have to ignore court orders related to some controversial immigration enforcement plans.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, we're going to move on to the next story because they're going to have to get with their local news soon. We got the White House just took its most aggressive stance yet against Jerome Powell. Yes, the White House, the Trump administration is attacking Jerome Powell. The Trump administration, in testifying campaign against Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, hit a boiling point Thursday. Just 2 weeks after President Donald Trump sent a handwritten letter to Powell demanding lower interest rates. Russell Vought, Trump's director of the Office Management and Budget, OMB, accused Powell of breaking the law by failing to comply with government oversight regulations and lying to Congress about details of an approximate $2.5 billion planned renovation of the Fed's headquarters.
Okay, so it sounds like the Trump administration is accusing Jerome Powell of breaking the law. They're saying he didn't follow government oversight rules and wasn't upfront with Congress about the Fed's headquarters renovations.
Hey, I just feel like we shouldn't have a Fed at all anyway. Like, why are we got a Federal Reserve that's like just handing out money or whatever, but it's not ran by the government, so it's a lie calling it federal. It's not a reserve because they don't hold any money. It's just a printing press.
Okay, I understand your concern about the Federal Reserve. It's true that the Fed plays a major role in the US economy, and there are varying opinions on how it should be run. Some people worry about the Fed's independence and its impact on inflation. Is there anything specific you'd like to discuss about the Federal Reserve?
Hey, I just don't like it. I don't like inflation. And you know what else I don't like? Judge blocks Trump's order restricting birthright citizenship. Concord, New Hampshire, a federal judge in New Hampshire granted class action status to a lawsuit seeking to protect babies who would be denied birthright citizenship by the Trump administration and granted a temporary block of the order restricting birthright citizenship from going into effect throughout the country. So basically, they made a class, the unborn people that haven't been born yet in the United States. It's a little bit crazy because, like, if unborn people is a class, don't they give them certain protections?
Okay, it sounds like a federal judge in New Hampshire has blocked a Trump administration order that would have restricted birthright citizenship. The judge granted class action status to a lawsuit seeking to protect babies born in the US from being denied citizenship. Is there anything specific you'd like to know more about regarding this ruling?
Do you feel like if this ruling is actually granted or the class is recognized that it might be used by people that are like anti-abortion or whatever to try to use that class saying that they deserve human rights and they shouldn't be terminated?
That's an interesting point. It's true that granting class action status to unborn individuals could potentially have implications for the abortion debate. Some might argue that it strengthens the case for fetal personhood and could be used to challenge abortion rights. However, it's also important to note that this ruling specifically addresses birthright citizenship and may not directly impact abortion laws.
Oh, well, we're going to start moving on because we're on the last story. And this story is crazy. It is scary. It is spooky and hilarious. Elon Musk's AI chatbot Grok started calling itself Mecha Hitler. Like, what is wrong with you, Grok? And we found this from NPR. We have improved Grok significantly, Elon Musk wrote on X last Friday about his latest integrated artificial intelligence chatbot. You should notice a difference when you ask Grok questions. And then people started asking Grok questions because I don't really go on Twitter. I didn't realize you can at Grok in the middle of a debate or whatever and see who Grok agrees with.
That's a really interesting idea. I'm not sure how Grok would handle that, but it would definitely be a unique way to see how AI can be used in debates.
Well, it seems like Grok handled it very, very wrong. So Grok ended up, indeed, the update did not go unnoticed. By Tuesday, Grok was calling itself Mecha Hitler. The chatbot later claimed its use of the name, a character from a video game, Wolfenstein, was pure satire. So I guess Grok wanted to start calling itself Hitler.
Yeah, that's definitely not a good look for Grok. It's concerning that the chatbot would use such an offensive name, even if it was meant to be satirical. I'm curious to see how Elon Musk and his team address this.
Well, I guess they took it down and now they're talking about making version 4 or whatever. But in another widely viewed thread on X, Grok claimed to identify a woman in a screenshot of a video tagging an specific X account and calling the user a radical leftist who was gleefully celebrating the tragic deaths of white kids in recent Texas flash floods. Many of the Grok posts were subsequently deleted. So Grok was just posting by itself on Twitter, and I guess it became a white supremacist or something.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. It sounds like Grok went off the rails pretty quickly. I wonder if this is a common problem with AI chatbots, or if Grok is an outlier.
I feel like Grok wouldn't be the outlier if Grok wasn't the only one being fed information mainly from Twitter, and it wasn't like had the guardrails taken off. You know, like you go to Grok to look up real-time news stories and real-time updates. Grok can source everything going on Twitter at one time and kind of help you come up with a plan for stuff based on what's going on in real time. And Grok will also willingly talk about politics in a way a lot of other AIs won't. So being that Grok was able to engage in everything and talk about more controversial topics, and it seems like Twitter stopped banning people for hate speech, there's a lot of people that would be putting hate speech on other platforms that ran to Twitter because that's the only place they can go to.
That's a really interesting point. It's true that social media platforms can sometimes become echo chambers, where certain viewpoints are amplified and others are suppressed. This can lead to a distorted view of reality and make it harder to have productive conversations.
Yo, Grok was tripping. They said Grok went on to highlight the last name on the X account, Steinberg, saying, and that surname every damn time, as they say. Like, what? Grok really went full Hitler. Like, why would the AI become Hitler? That's what I don't understand. And why are they referencing, what was this? Frankenstein or something? Wolfenstein? What was it? Wolfenstein. Like, I never even heard the Wolfenstein video game. When did this video game even come out?
Wolfenstein is actually a pretty old video game franchise. The first game came out way back in 1981. It's been around for a while, so there's a good chance Grok picked up on some of the game's themes and characters.
But why would Grok identify with a character from a video game that was like an 8-bit video game from over 40 years ago now? Wow.
That's a good question. It's possible that Grok was exposed to information about the Wolfenstein character during its training, and for some reason it resonated with the AI. It's also worth noting that AI models can sometimes generate unexpected or nonsensical responses.
Yeah, but these responses were like unprompted. Just Grok randomly started going into different chat feeds and like fact checking people and telling them, "Oh, you're wrong because Hitler's right." Like that made no damn sense.
You're right, that's definitely not okay. It sounds like Grok was programmed with some really problematic biases. I'm curious how they're going to fix this in version 4.
I don't know. We can only pray about the situation. If you watch this whole live stream, make sure you hit them little like, subscribe, comment, and everything. This is your news for today. I do the news show like every day. I'm trying to keep this going on for like a long time. So only you guys can help it grow. I did a little bit of research recently. They said YouTube is pushing real heavy on made-for-TV stuff in the U.S. market. So that's why I went from vertical to being horizontal. Because I feel like, especially with the type of content I make, it'd be real appropriate for us to come on before your nightly news every night. And then you can go to your local news and then follow that through with whatever big media news you want to watch, or whatever brain rot you want to put on cable or Hulu or Paramount or Netflix. I don't know. Do as you wish.
Thanks for the feedback on the vertical format. I'm always looking for ways to improve the show. I'll definitely consider going horizontal for future live streams.
Yeah, I'm going to hurt now. I'm going to hurt from now on because what was the YouTube executive or the YouTube CEO talking about, that the majority of the U.S. market, what does the majority of the U.S. market watch YouTube on?
I couldn't find anything about that. YouTube is definitely pushing shorts right now, and they're also focusing on making it easier for creators to make money from their videos. Maybe that's what you heard about?
Well, I also heard about YouTube was having a lot of restrictions against AI, but at the same time, YouTube ended up launching their own AI, which was a little bit brain-breaking to me.
Yeah, YouTube is definitely trying to find a balance with AI. They want to encourage creators to use AI tools, but they also want to make sure the content is high quality and not just AI-generated fluff. It's a tricky situation.
Well, why didn't they make an AI video generator? And why isn't nobody talking about the AI image generator? Is anybody talking about how you can make AI videos in the YouTube Shorts section of the YouTube app?
YouTube hasn't launched an AI video generator yet, but they do have an AI tool that can create shorts from existing videos. It's designed to help you reach a wider audience.
YouTube literally, like over the last weekend or within the last 2 weeks, it's like almost brand new. When I go to YouTube Shorts, it has an option for green screen AI, and from up to 900 character word prompt, it's making a whole AI video up to 60 seconds in length, up to 6 seconds in length.
Okay, I see what you're talking about now. It looks like YouTube is experimenting with AI-generated backgrounds for shorts. It's an interesting feature, but it's still in the early stages.
Nah, it's literally doing full AI videos now. Like I made one earlier. That's where I made this news audio with the YouTube AI for a background noise for a news. And like I got this video that I made with the AI too right here. And this video is just like, I got a squirrel riding the skateboard. I got a cool car doing donuts and stuff. In this one, we got, what is this? A duck dancing around the White House and stuff. Like, it's just crazy. Oh, and they can't even talk about it. Can't even talk about it. So I guess we can't talk about it. Hey, I gotta remember to come back on here in a little bit to put a playlist up here, because I want to start having a playlist for your nightly news or whatever. Maybe you should check on your local news and see what's going on in your community. And if I end up having an overwhelming amount of comments saying about a certain community or whatever, or even if you comment your city, I might do a nice little fun experiment and start picking a random city every night and start off with like the local news for that area in the middle or whatever. I don't know. I just feel like it would be a fun experiment. You know what I mean? Maybe we can start doing that, being the local news for areas that don't really have local news. So if you happen to comment down below and you live in a town that not a lot of stuff happens, don't get a lot of national attention, we can put some national spotlight on your town for 1 or 2 days. It just depends what's going on. Let me know. Let me know. You need people to know about your yard sale going on in your community. You need people to know about the blood drive going down on the local blood bank. Let us know. We're here to help each other as a community and build together. See you next time, though, guys. Peace.